Otega Oweh is the player that we're going to break down on today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer and editor over at Wildcats Today, joined as always by my co-host, Carson Nash. Carson, I think you're a big Otega Oweh fan. I think he's one of your favorite players. I think he might be one of my favorite players on the team. So, Carson, let's get right on into this episode. And I'll tell you, when it comes to Otega, I love his versatility. He's a do-it-all guy. I love, because you've got your players like, Kerr Kriisa is a great passer and shooter. We talked about him on our last preview. But is he the best defender? No, not compared. Or you could talk about Amari Williams, an elite defender. Is he the best offensive weapon? He can score. You know what I mean? Like, he's solid, but not elite. Otega Oweh, everything, he is a jack of all trades. Everything that you can do on a basketball court, he is good at. And I love that. Last year for the Sooners, 11.4 points per game, 3.8 boards, 1 assist. He shot 37.7 from 3 last year and 49.3% from the field. What I love about his three-point percentage, Carson, his freshman season, the 22-23 year, he shot 25% from 3. Then last year, he improves that almost 13%. He improves that to 37.7%. So, Carson, what are your thoughts on Otega Oweh on the floor as a player? What do you like about his game?
Yeah, like you said, I love how versatile he is. You could watch him. Miss a shot, but they get a run out, but he runs down the court and pins it off the backboard. He's one of those guys where he can do pretty much everything. He can knock down an open shot. He can get to the rim. He's a freak athlete. He's almost like he's one of those guys that you're like, man, he should probably put some pads on and play football. Yeah. But he's one that some draft boards had him on their draft boards last year and during the season. So he's one of the guys that I'm super excited about. And Pope actually had name dropped him as one of the 3 standouts alongside Lamont Butler and Amari Williams early in his first press conference. So I think Otega is going to be one of those guys that comes off the bench and provides defense and a spark offensively.
No question there. And he's a player to me, Carson. It looks like his best basketball is still ahead of him. It looks like he's still developing. I think he can get better than he already is. He's a guy, I think there's a world where, he averages, 12 points a game this year for the Cats in like 19, 20 minutes or something. And then next year, he's like the best player and he potentially walks in and is taken in the NBA draft. He has that kind of upside to me. I really like Otega Oweh as a player. And, once again, you say, so they have him listed on ESPN at 6'5", 215. On the Kentucky website, they have him listed at 6'4", 208. So, but once again, he's playing the guard. That's still a very solid height for what he needs to do. But I love his defense, his intensity on defense. He's really fast. He's strong. With his height and length, he can shut down opposing guards. That's going to be when Lamont Butler comes out of the game, it's Otega's job. Okay, shut down their best guard on the floor when you're in the game. And then think about this, Carson. Think about both of them in the game at once when you need to get a couple stops or something. Good luck, man. Good luck even like passing the ball. I think that they could be 2 of the best.
Run a press with Lamont and just put all your defensive
guys in. Lamont Butler, I think, is the best on-ball defender in college basketball.
Oh, I'd agree with you, yeah.
And then I think Otega Oweh is
up
probably
there.
Going to be is up there. Probably still top 5. I think that there's a chance. I think there's a world. Do you know this, Carson? The all SEC defensive team. Are there 2 teams or is there just 1 team? I think there's 2.
I think there's 2.
There's the first and second team.
Yeah.
If there are 2, I think there's a chance you have 3 Wildcats on that team. I think Amari Williams, Otega Oweh, and Lamont are all on that. That's how good this team's going to be defensively. But I also love, like I talked about a minute ago, that he's improving his shooting. He's getting better at shooting. You love a guy who can be, you know who he kind of reminds me of a little shorter version of from last year's team?
Who?
Is I just, in a weird way, and I'm going to get to it, but it's a do. I think Otega is going to be a player. I don't think he's going to knock down a ton of threes. I don't think he's going to be this high volume shooting 3-point. Like, let's look at last year's. Yeah, like last year's 0 for 1, 1 for 4, 0 for 1, 0 for 1, 0 for 2, 1 for 4, 1 for 2. Like, you see what I'm saying? He's 2 for 3, 2 for 2, 2 for 4. He's a type of 3-point shooter that he's not out here taking 4 or 5. He's taking them when he's open. And that's what Adu did, but he's also, they play different positions, but he's strong. He can defend. He's an elite athlete. They're similar players, just, Adu's a little bit taller and, plays more that forward compared to Otega, who plays the guard position. But I just think when it comes to his shooting, he'd rather slash, he'd rather get to the rim. But when he's open, he's going to shoot him. And once again, he's going to make it at about a probably 36 to 40% clip. So if he's taking 2 a game and, you'll take that. Like, you'll take him going 1 for 2, he goes 2 for 3 this game, 1 for 2 this game, 0 for 2, then 0 for 1, then 2 for 3. You'll take that. Like, him missing 1 or 2 threes, the world won't end. It's not, if he's not making them and he goes 0 for 7, then it's a conversation. But he's not going to do that because that's not the type of player he is. And I think that Otega Oweh, the 2 players, Kirk Kriisa, who we talked about on last episode, and then Otega Oweh, they're the 2 players. I wish we could talk to the NCAA about making basketball the game where you have 7 players on the floor at once, because those 2 guys are incredible and they deserve to start. But the reality is this team is just so talented, so deep, so veteran that it's going to be hard for them to overtake a Lamont Butler, a Brea, Jackson Robinson. That's just the reality here. So when it comes to role, give me a role, Carson. Give me minutes per game. Give me points per game. What do you see the season looking like for Otega Oweh?
Yeah, I think Otega Oweh has a chance to be in the running for 6th man of the year in the SEC. I think he's going to be the first off the bench. I think he's one of those guys, like you said, he's only progressively gotten better throughout. Yeah. Even if you break it down, like the beginning of the season last year, he wasn't as good as he was at the end of the year. So he progressively gets better, which is huge for us and huge getting him here under Pope's system. And I think Pope loves him because you know how Pope plays. You get a stop on defense, you get a transition break, and we're shooting that thing.
Yeah.
We're Hawk 2 in that thing.
There it is. I knew as soon as you said thing, I knew that was coming.
We're shooting that thing. And so when defense leads to offense, you have players like Lamont Butler and Otega Oweh who start that. Yeah. And both of those players they're good enough from 3 to knock it down, but you need those guys to have Kobe Brea run out and be wide open after an Otega steal. So I can see the exact fit for Otega, and I think he's only progressively going to get better and only progressively going to earn more minutes. And I definitely see, like you said, I see him, and I'd say Brandon Garrison as those 2 guys being the upside guys that could get their name called, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, Carson. This is the 5th podcast we've recorded today, and this is our last one. I cannot believe it took you this long to get to a Hawk Tua thing. I thought that was going to be a lot. I thought we were going to get there sooner than 5 episodes, but still. But so, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I think there's a world where Otega is going to make it very, very hard to have him not on the floor. And that's not to say that Brea and Robinson aren't going to play well either. But I think that they're going to all be great to where it's like, man, I really wish we could have 6 guys on the floor. Like, it's going to be hard. I think he's going to be so good for this basketball team that it will be hard to not have him on the floor. But I also think that, like I said, Brea and Robinson are going to be so good that it's all around. It's all around a problem because everybody's going to have a great season. I mean, and I think Otega Oweh is a great example. The more I talk about this basketball team, CBS Sports put out they're way too early top 25. The Cats weren't listed. I wrote an article about this. I don't understand. I can't put into.
I would love for someone to name 25 better teams.
There aren't. And it's absurd. And that's just the reality. There are not. And because of this depth we're talking about, Otega Oweh is a really good basketball player that would start at a lot
Didn't they?
really good
Okay.
schools.
Didn't they rank Louisville on that list, or am I tripping?
I don't think they did.
Okay.
Arkansas was 15, I think, or 16, but
which is ridiculous as
I don't
well.
think Louisville was on there. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that.
Not Arkansas's ranking, but the fact that we're not ranked in their 15th is kind of ridiculous.
But I'll tell you this: there's not 25, and actually it was 26. They ranked 26 teams, so I don't know why they made that was a weird call, but still, I mean, there's not 26 teams better than Kentucky. In this conversation about Otega Oweh is a reason why I can say that so confidently. He's such a good basketball player that will be coming off the bench more than likely. And
he was Oklahoma's best player.
So yeah, seriously. But then do the flip side of that, Carson. So we talked about Kerr last episode. Let's say now you said you gave a very high percentage for your confidence that Lamont will start, but let's say somehow Kerr starts. And somehow Otega starts. And that's actually what ESPN predicted, which I don't agree with them. But let's say that happens. That means you got Lamont Butler and like either Brea or Robinson.
Or Robinson coming off the bench.
Like that's what. So either way you flip this, the point still stands. This team is really good and deep with veteran players. And this is why Kentucky fans, I'm going to let you in a little secret. You should be really, really, really excited about this basketball team. People keep asking me, Andrew,
don't let talking heads in the media get your excitement down. Because
exactly.
Us at Wildcats Today believe that this is a very, very elite team.
And we call a spade a spade. If we didn't think that, I would tell you. You know what I mean? I would.
Exactly.
We're not sunshine pumping. I'm sunshine pumping reality. If I thought this team was going to be bad, I would tell you. And that's just the reality here. But I have so much excitement for this basketball team. It's hard to put into words how good I think they're going to be. And they'll use this fuel. Who cares? Once again, you think Coach Pope, you think Otega Oweh cares? They don't give a crap about that. They're ready to go win games and prove people wrong. And that's what they want to do. Hang banners. Exactly. And they're playing for this. I love everything about this program right now. This team, I'm just so excited. And Otega Oweh, like I said, is a great example of what we're talking about, why this team can be so good. So, Carson, any other thoughts before we call it a day here on the Wildcats Today podcast?
No, but man, gosh, as every player we list, dude, like I said, Kerr might be my favorite, but like I love Otega too. Like he could easily be my favorite as well. Like a lot of these guys have really good character.
Yeah.
And I think that'll make us as BBN fall in love with them. So I'm really excited about these guys.
No question. That's going to do it for today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. This is going to be the episode for Tuesday, the 16th. On Thursday, I'll be back from Spain.
We'll be back.
Hopefully
regular scheduled.
Yeah, we'll be hopefully I'm back. No injuries from running with the Bulls. I'm not actually gonna run with the Bulls, Geeky. I'm not, I promise. I know you're listening. We'll see. I don't know. We're gonna see how we feel when we get there. But had I not dislocated my patella a couple weeks ago, I would have. Now we're if I was a fantasy football player, I would be doubtful, maybe questionable, but we're gonna see how we feel in a week. But so on Thursday, we'll be back to normal. Appreciate y'all. Obviously we had episodes coming out, but we'll be back up to current events, up to what's going on. So appreciate y'all bearing with us here on that. Hope everybody has an outstanding rest of their day today, and we will see y'all next time.